The sky over Seattle is a heavy, bruised quaint of gray today, weeping a fine, misting rain that seems to soak directly into my bones. It's spring, or so the calendar claims, but the cherry blossoms lining the walk to the high school look like sodden, discarded tissues clinging to the black asphalt. I kept my head down as I walked, my shoulders hunched toward my ears, trying to make myself small, so small that maybe the wind would just blow right through me instead of pushing me around. I'm 16, a time when I'm supposed to be growing into someone, but most days I feel like I'm just waiting to be erased. "Hey Brian, watch where you're going, you little ghost." The voice belonged to Marcus. I didn't look up. I never look up. I just stepped off the sidewalk into a puddle that swallowed my shoe, the icy water seeping through my sock. "I'm sorry," I whispered, the words automatic and thin. "I didn't mean to be in the way. I always feel like I'm in the way." Marcus and his friends laughed, a sharp, jagged sound that cut through the soft patter of the rain, and I just stood there, dripping, until the sound of their footsteps faded. This is my life, a series of apologies for existing, a constant struggle against the bullying enemies who seem to sense the cracks in my spirit. I finally made it to the heavy school doors, my breath hitching in my chest. The hallways are worse than the rain. They are narrow and loud, filled with people who seem to know exactly where they are going. I'm a student of many things. I try so hard to understand the physics of the world and the syntax of dead languages, but I am a master of none. My grades are slipping, despite the hours I spend staring at my textbooks until the letters blur into ink blots. Every low mark feels like a verdict, a sign that I'm failing at the one thing I'm supposed to be doing. "Brian, did you finish the lab report?" Mr. Henderson asked as I slid into my seat, trying to ignore the damp chill of my clothes. I tried, sir," I said, my voice barely audible over the hum of the heater. "I got confused on the last section. I'm so sorry. I'll try harder tonight." He sighed, a sound of weary disappointment that hurt more than a shout. "You have potential, Brian, but you're drifting." Drifting. That's exactly what it feels like. I'm 16, with only a couple of years of high school left, but the world feels like it's continuing to crumble around me. While other kids are worrying about prom or who is dating whom, my mind is dominated by the future. I think ahead to adulthood, to that terrifying moment when I'll have to walk across a stage and receive a diploma. To everyone else, it's a celebration. To me, it feels like being pushed out of a plane without a parachute. What will my purpose be? How can I be an adult when I can barely manage to be a teenager? The stress is a physical weight, a suffocating blanket that makes it hard to draw a full breath. It's the stress of making friends, or rather the lack of them, and the constant, low-grade fear of the people who find sport in my silence. By the time the final bell rang, I felt like a frayed wire, ready to snap at the slightest touch. I didn't stop at my locker. I didn't look for anyone to say goodbye to. I just walked back out into the Seattle mist, the rain now a steady, rhythmic drumming on my hood. When I finally reached the safety of my house, I didn't even say hello to the silence. I went straight to the stairs, my movements frantic and quiet. When I was younger, it started with the bathroom. I would go in there and turn the lock, leaning my forehead against the cold porcelain of the sink. I'd listen to the water run, pretending it was a waterfall that could wash away the names I'd been called that day. But as I got older, the bathroom wasn't enough. The walls felt too thin, the space too temporary. Now I have my bedroom. I stepped inside and turned the lock with a trembling hand. Click. The most beautiful sound in the world. I sank onto the floor, my back against the wood of the door. The room was dim, the gray light from the window casting long, mournful shadows across my unmade bed. I am 16 years old, and I am hiding. The isolation is supposed to be a relief, but even here, the stress follows me. It's in the pile of homework I don't understand. It's in the image of the stage I'll have to walk across in 2 years. It's in the hollow ache in my chest that tells me I have no purpose. "Please," I whispered to the empty room, my voice breaking. "Please, I just want to know what I'm supposed to be." I looked at my hands. They were shaking. I'm a student of many things, but I haven't learned how to live in my own skin. I've tried to lock the world out, but the world is already inside my head. A chorus of doubts and not enoughs. I need to find a better way of coping with this. The isolation isn't enough anymore. I'm drowning in the middle of a city famous for its water, a master of none, waiting for a future that feels more like a threat than a promise. I stayed there on the floor for a long time, listening to the rain tap against the glass, a tiny, submissive soul lost in the vast, gray middle of my own life, wondering if the sun would ever find its way through the clouds of who I am supposed to become.